Hare Krishna. Do you want more from your life? More happiness, better health, deeper relationships, increased productivity? And then what if I told you that just one thing can help you in all of these areas? Yes, an attitude of gratitude. Today our speaker, Srimati Rukmini Devi Mataji, will tell us how a grateful heart is always happy and how we can develop an attitude of gratitude. Rukmini Devi Mataji joined the ISKCON Society in San Francisco in 1968. She then travelled to Montreal to meet Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON, with the 6 devotees who were on their way to open the temple in London. She was initiated in Montreal and later served in Boston as an artist and then pujari there, and in New York City. In 1972, she was sent by Srila Prabhupada to Mayapur with a group of artists to learn the art of putul, clay doll making. For teaching, it is also called dioramas. These diorama exhibitions were later completed in Los Angeles and Detroit. She is married to His Grace Anuttama Das, ISKCON's Global Minister of Communications. For 25 years together, they owned a business called Kindred Spirits, which supported many ISKCON outreach projects. She now lives in Washington, D.C. So let us hear about the benefits of gratitude by Srimati Rukmini Devi Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'm Rukmini Walker, and I wanted to speak with you today about appreciative love or gratefulness. I'm here in Mumbai now. I flew here from Delhi a couple of weeks ago, and I noticed that the Delhi airport was decorated with neon candy canes and all Christmas decorations. So I was very surprised to see Christmas in India. And since I've been here in Mumbai, I've seen Christmas trees and snowmen. And so Christmas has become a commercialized thing, but really the spirit of Christmas is about giving. And I wanted to speak about this spirit of giving and about especially appreciating divine gifts. So when we hear the story of Christmas, we hear that there were 3 wise men that came from the East, and they had calculated by astrological calculation that there was a very great light had been born for the world. So they came to offer gifts to that divine person. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata, that whenever there's a decline in religious principles, he comes or he sends his servant or he sends his son to help light the world with these kinds of divine gifts and divine knowledge. So gratitude for this mercy that comes from divinity. This is one of the qualities of a devotee of the Lord. Appreciation and gratitude for the one who supplies us all the necessities of life, who supplies us everything we need. So when we think about knowledge, one of the components of knowledge is this quality of gratefulness, to be conscious that we're receiving gifts. If we are awake, if we're paying attention in our lives, we'll see that everything is coming to me as a gift. We talk about becoming God conscious or Krishna conscious. First, we have to become conscious, actually, of the gifts that we're receiving. So Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, again, he asks us, be conscious, pay attention to the fact that there is that pure taste of water and divinity is there, that when we see the light of the sun and the moon, that divinity is present there, that in the gifts of all abilities that people receive, that's a gift from divine grace. So this kind of paying attention to the gifts we're receiving, this this attention is the doorway to gratitude. If we want to open our hearts to gratitude, it starts by paying attention to the gifts that we're receiving at every moment in our lives. So this attention is the doorway to gratitude. Gratitude is the doorway to actually experiencing a sense of wonder, a sense of awe at these divine gifts. And that kind of awe or sense of wonder is a doorway to reciprocation, to being able to give and receive love from the divine, but also to being able to experience love in our human relationships as well. Maybe you've seen or heard the story of the Brahmin and the cobbler. The great sage Narada Muni went to Vaikuntha and came back to earth, and he was asked by a very proud Brahmin, when you went to the spiritual world, when you went to the land of Vaikuntha, what was my Lord Narayan doing there? And the Lord had told Narada Muni to say, oh, he was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle. So the proud Brahmin, who felt very entitled with his position and his knowledge, he said, oh, that's preposterous. It's not possible that anyone could be threading an elephant through the eye of a needle. And then Narada Muni went to a humble cobbler, and he told him that he'd just come from Vaikuntha, and the simple cobbler who was sitting under a big banyan tree doing his work, he said, oh, Narada, where have you come from? And Narada said, I've just come from Vaikuntha, and I saw Lord Narayan there. And the cobbler was dancing in ecstasy and joy. And he said, what was my Lord doing in Vaikuntha? And Narada Muni said, he was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle. And the simpler cobbler was so joyous and so much overwhelmed with a sense of wonder and awe that he said, yes, my Lord can do anything. He is so great. So this mood of humility, this appreciation, this gratitude, this wonder, this sense of awe and wonder, these are all the components of a grateful heart, of a humble heart that we see in this beautiful story. How great is my Lord? He can do anything. So we have to remember that we actually come into this world empty-handed. We come here naked, and everything we receive is coming to us as a gift. We actually come into this world as a debtor. I'm so indebted to my mother, to my parents. I'm indebted to God for the air that's supplied to me, for my very body. So these are the gifts we receive when we come into this world. First of all, we're indebted to our mother. The mother is considered the very first guru. So we live by the mother's milk. She gives us her own milk, or maybe she gives us a bottle, but still she cared for us and staying up at night and giving us her own selfless love. But where is our gratitude for this kind of gift of love that we've received? Around the time of World War II, the Nazis performed a very cruel experiment where they had babies in a nursery, and they wanted to see what would happen if they kept the babies clean and fed, but not given any kind of human affection. What would be the result? And they found that those babies not being given any human touch, any love, any affection, they weren't able to live, even though they were being fed and they were being kept clean. So just for the love that we've received, the love that we've been given, the care that we've been given, we're indebted to so many people in our lives, at the time of our birth, in our childhood, in our work. We're indebted to so many people in our families. We are practitioners in this bhakti tradition, we are practitioners of bhakti yoga, which is the love, it's the yoga of exchanging love with God, to give and receive, to receive and to give love, an appreciative love. Bhakti is like a yoga of gratitude, a giving and a receiving, a calling the name of God and receiving gifts from God. according to the Bhakti tradition, when we wake up in the morning, we say something in praise of God, some glorification of God, and then we thank God for, again, waking me up, that again you've given me life, you've given me today another day, you've given me my breath, you've given me another chance to live another day. So this is like actions of gratitude, an attitude of gratitude, but also acting in gratitude. And then we thank Mother Earth. Mother Earth, the goddess of the earth, she's holding all the mountains, she's holding the rivers, and she's holding me. And so before putting my foot on the floor each morning, after I wake up, I thank Mother Earth and I ask her forgiveness for putting my feet on her. So these are the beautiful acts of humility and gratitude in the Bhakti tradition. In our lives, we can choose whether we want to have this kind of consciousness of gratitude or whether we want to have a consciousness of scarcity. So without the wisdom of these spiritual traditions, like the Bhakti tradition, we might wake up in the morning with a consciousness more of scarcity. I might wake up in the morning thinking, oh, I didn't get enough sleep, or I don't make enough money. I never have enough time to do what I want to do. My family doesn't love me or respect me enough. Or maybe we don't have enough wilderness left in the world. There's so many people. So we can choose to have this consciousness of appreciative gratitude or live in a consciousness of scarcity and want. This is our choice at every moment. It's said that when we give a gift, we give what we can spare. But when we give appreciation, when we give gratefulness, we give from our hearts. So this is very important, that it's not about a material gift, but it's a gift of the heart, a gift of loving appreciation, a sense of paying attention to the gifts I'm receiving from people all around me, from divinity, from the Supreme. So paying attention, feeling that gratitude, experiencing gratitude, and that gratitude takes us to this beautiful sense of wonder, sense of awe, and that opens our hearts to loving reciprocation. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that all living beings are part of him. He explains that every living being is in him and belongs to him. So we can appreciate and be enriched by that knowledge of that interconnectedness, that connectivity, that all living beings are part of Krishna, that there's not really a separation in the eternal and true sense, that all living beings have that beautiful connectedness to divinity. Krishna also says in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that he says, know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious things, creations, spring from but a spark of his splendor. So this is a great gift, to be conscious of that interconnectedness, to realize that all things that are coming to me are gifts from that divine source. Henry David Thoreau, a great philosopher from the US, said something very beautiful. He said, only that day dawns to which we are awake. So if we're really sleeping through our lives, we haven't even had a morning's dawn yet. So we have to wake up to the gifts that we're receiving. And one who is awake is grateful. And one who is grateful becomes actually great due to gratefulness. And without this kind of gratefulness or gratitude, love is actually impossible. What is the opposite of this gratitude? What is the opposite of gratefulness? You could say that the opposite of gratefulness is a sense of entitlement, that I deserve everything that's coming to me, and perhaps I've made my own good fortune. I'm a self-made man or self-made woman, and all the good things that come to me have come by my own power, by my own brilliant mind, or my own prowess. But this is a very cancerous thought, actually, that that's devoid of gratitude. And this kind of thinking can be very deadly in our relationships, this kind of entitlement. There is an international movement that's gaining momentum in the world right now called the Me Too movement, where many women are coming forward and saying that they've been abused or somehow harassed in different ways, and by men, you know, maybe a boss or maybe some situation, some work situation. And it's a very unfortunate thing. So you can see, if we look, what is the source of that kind of consciousness or that kind of harassment, that someone is thinking, by my position or by my place of power, I have a right, I'm entitled, and I can use my employees or people under my care, I can use or misuse them as I like. I can abuse people as I like because of my position and there's no repercussion for that kind of exploitation. So this is really the opposite of a grateful consciousness. It's the opposite of appreciation. That just imagine an opposite of that kind of consciousness. Someone is assisting you in your office and you think, yes, I'm so grateful to you for whatever contribution you can make toward this work, toward this office. There's a beautiful example that a grateful heart is like a fountain that's overflowing. Actually, it's said that a grateful heart is heaven itself. It's so beautiful. So if we want to exist in heaven, if we want to not have heaven in some faraway place, but have heaven in my heart right now, in my daily experience, we can try to be grateful, and that gratitude is heaven itself. So this image of a fountain overflowing, and when that fountain has a small bowl and the water is gushing up and the water is overflowing, then this is a beautiful image of an overflowing thankfulness that is a beautiful place to exist in our hearts. It's a joyous place. It's the source or the doorway to joy, you could say. So paying attention in our lives is the doorway to gratefulness. Gratefulness is the doorway to this sense of wonder, sense of awe, this joy. And this kind of joy is like a doorway to loving reciprocation with the divine person. In the bhakti tradition, we call him Sri Krishna. And also in our human relationships, just to appreciate the gifts that I'm receiving from my co-workers, from my husband, my wife, my children. So you can imagine if the fountain, if I keep getting a bigger and bigger bowl, in other words, if I keep wanting more and more and more, I need the latest phone, I need the latest car, I need a bigger house, I need this and I need that, I have to have the latest shoes and all of these things. So that bowl of the fountain keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and that gushing water from the fountain is not able to overflow because the bowl keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like a disease of acquisition. Like we hear of the disease of having the flu, having influenza. So this is like a disease of affluenza. I've become, or the world has become so affluent that my capacity has gotten so big that I want new and more and more. And that fountain of gratitude can't really overflow the way it's meant to overflow. So if I can give another example, another beautiful water example. If you're standing on the bank of a still pond and you take a pebble and you throw it into the pond, if you throw one pebble over here and one pebble over here and one pebble over there, those pebbles, from each of those pebbles, there will be concentric circles forming and radiating out from each one of those pebbles, right? And if one pebble is thrown here, one thrown there, one thrown there, then those radiating circles will clash with each other. But if I can throw my pebble right in the very center of the pond, and then throw another pebble in the center, and if you can throw your pebble in the center, then we can have beautiful, harmonious, concentric circles radiating out from that center in harmony rather than disharmony. So this is a beautiful formula that if I can see that I'm connected to my source, to be grateful to that source, and to see other people, other living beings of all colors, of all nationalities, of all races and castes, they're also coming from that divine source. Actually, there's a beautiful quote from the Quran where it says that God has made each of us different so that we would have to learn to get along with each other and respect each other. And if God, in his infinite wisdom, had wanted, he could have made us all the same. But that's not the way it is. So we can honor each other, seeing that we all come from that same source, and try to offer our gratitude into the center of that pond. And then those generating circles that radiate out from that center, we can have humanity, we can have community, we can have art, we can have music, we can have love of other people, we can have science, we can have so many things, but understanding that everything, all those gifts come from that one essential divine center, in harmony rather than disharmony. So these are a few thoughts on appreciative love, on having a spirit of giving, having a gratefulness in our hearts that will actually be the doorway to love, and actually a doorway to becoming great ourselves. By becoming grateful, we become great. So these are my thoughts, and I thank you so very much.